Good evening. So I'm Roshmi Roy, and we're here today to discuss my book, Tales We Can Tell. This is my latest book of short stories, and it's published by Blue Rose Publishers. Now, although short stories falls under the genre of fiction, these stories are not fictional. They're all true stories which have been related to me by various people whom I know. Um, with, of course, the proviso that I don't mention their own names, except for two people who are present here today, Alistair and Kaushik. They have both agreed to let me use their own names. So I've written it in the first person as if they are telling their own story. So this is this came from the idea of storytelling therapy, which is when you express or share your stories with someone, it has a cathartic effect, and the painful memories that you have, some of it gets relieved because you have shared it with someone. So this was the reason I thought if people tell their stories, have a chance to relate their incidents or whatever they have gone through, it will be helpful for them. For their actually for mental health also, this is a therapy that is used. Um, so most of my stories are like this. Only two of them I have written on based on newspaper reports of two women that I read about who inspired me a lot, and I decided to write about them. So first, let me give my utmost thanks to Mrs. Hilda Peacock, who is here for writing my foreword. She's the ex-principal of Martiniere for Girls, Calcutta, and right now she's the director of GEMS Academia. So, ma'am, would you share a few of your thoughts about the book with us?
Thank you, Roshmi, for two things. First, for allowing me to write the foreword. That means I was very lucky. I got a chance to read the book, both in pieces, because you sent it to me as you kept writing, and as a whole. And I think I'm the first person who got that chance. So thank you for that. And thank you also for allowing me to be a part of this discussion. Congratulations. Congratulations on putting down all those stories on paper. That was truly a labor of love. In this day and age, I don't know how people can sit down and bring together so many ideas and thoughts and experiences and put it down and then get it. It's a lot of work, more than you said cathartic effect. I'm sure that is true, but before that cathartic effect happens, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and the nitty gritty of bringing out the novel, the thinking, the detailing, the narrative, then the editing and the publishing, and then finally the release of the book. So congratulations on that. Good work. I loved the stories because no, I do not know the specific people. I do not know who this person is. But there is a certain, when you look at the broad strokes, there's a certain universality about all those stories. They are not the experience of one person or not the experience of one, largely women. I know there are two gentlemen on this panel. So largely women, the stories of women and their struggles, and in most cases, either their success or their acceptance of what they have undergone. So to me, I recognize, Roshmi, I recognized people there. They're not the people that you were writing about, but they were people that I know. All right, out of your experience, there were people whose struggles were common, people whose uh, uh, solutions were not unusual. And to that extent, I felt that this was a powerful work because it spoke to us of other people's experience, and we claimed those for our own. So thank you again for that.
Thank you, ma'am, for such wonderful words. And you've actually said what was the reason behind it also. This is what happens, you know, when you read about other people's trauma and what they have gone through and how they came out of it. what happens, it inspires you. You think that, okay, I've also gone through some of these similar experiences, and I also have hope to come out of it and make a better life for myself. So now I told you, two of my narrators are present here who have actually told me their stories, and their names are there. So I'll start with Kaushik. Kaushik Banerjee. He is from Kolkata. He is an ex-professor of Bhawanipur Education Society, and right now he's teaching at Julian Day School
Wow.
Kolkata. Yes, yes, ma'am. In your profession, he's a great teacher.
Exactly.
So,
Interesting.
Kaushik, would you share, please? This is a very personal story of his. He lost his wife at a very tender age of 34 to COVID. And 34, such a young woman. And so, Kaushik, how did it feel to tell the story?
Actually, ma'am, the thing was like when you asked me that, Kaushik, whatever you have gone through, I want to pen down about you, your life, the things that you are going through. I was like, okay, what else can be a better gift to her rather than my Roshni telling the entire world about my life? Because I still remember when in 2000, I remember 2017 or 16, when 16, when Roshmi came and we shared the stuff. She was so affectionate, especially towards me. Whatever I used to demand, that I want this, I want that. And whatever time we used to get in between, I used to talk about my wife, my kids. And suddenly when she passed away, like I shared my story to Roshmi. And when she was writing this book, she just asked me that whether, are you comfortable? So I felt that yes, because there were so many people who went through this second phase. I have students whose both the parents died at the age of 40, 38. And I was just feeling to whether I'm the only person. No, there are so many. When I actually come across in Julian Day School itself, there is a boy in class 11 who lost his mother. So I was like, okay, if I just allow Roshmi to write about this, so many people will be touched. Like, as in, so many people, those who have gone through this, will be able to relate to my side of the story. And that's what today, when it's almost 1 year, 4 months, then things are a little different now. And how we actually coped up with the entire thing with my two kids, trying to see a part of my wife in me. That was all about this story. So I should thank Roshni for telling my story to the world.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kaushik, for letting me talk about it, because I know it's a very painful thing. It was very recent when I had approached him. When soon as I heard about this, I was not living in Kolkata. I was in Bangalore at that time, but we connected, and he agreed to tell me the story. And I think now that it's in a book form, I think, like you said, that's your tribute to her. So one of the things about literature, I've been a literature teacher, so I think that literature is a great record of history. In history books, we only talk about wars and political details, but about the people, what they go through and their lives, that is what literature records. Now, in this pandemic, many people have suffered this loss, and what they went through and what happened. This COVID, the calamity that landed upon us, this is, I think, through these stories, it's a real life record of what people went through and what they had to face because of this. So now can we go to Alistair? Alistair, how are you? He is now the creative director and founder of Jude Alistair LLP. So, Alistair, go ahead. Tell me a little bit about what you felt when I asked you to tell the story.
I actually wanted to share my story so that other people don't make the mistake that I made of reacting. Sometimes the best thing to do is just take a step back and just walk away, rather than trying to be all macho and trying to defend yourself. You should just walk away. That's one mistake that I made. And I want everybody to know that, especially if you're on a foreign land and you face it with such a situation, you should just back off and just walk away and save yourself, because my insurance also just expired that time. So it was kind of like, oh my God, what the hell am I going to do? Yeah. So anyways, that's all. Yeah.
Yes. So for those of you who are on the call who haven't read the book, and Alistair was studying in he was studying fashion design in San Francisco, and he faced this kind of racial attack, and it was a very severe attack, and he had to come back to India and get himself treated, but he had the courage to he didn't give up. And he, although his mother told him, it's too dangerous, don't go back there, but he went back and he completed his course and he got his graduation. So it's a wonderful thing, again, another reason, like I said, you read about another person, but that inspires you. There's so many people, are in foreign countries. So many students are now, even now they are going. There's this big rush of students to foreign countries, and what they should be prepared. They have a sort of foreknowledge, then they are forearmed. So I think that's a very good thing you did, Alistair, by sharing your story with me. And so I don't see any other contributors who have joined in. Those who haven't read, Munira, what is your take on short stories? Do you normally like to read short stories, or what kind of stories do you like to read?
I actually love reading short stories because I find, given my attention span and time pressures, I find short stories more power-packed and more engaging rather than a slow build-up. And some of the short stories that I have read, I think have equal power and impact. And some of the short stories are so much more poignant because, so I love reading short stories, and I look forward to reading your book for sure. And I was listening to ma'am speaking, this is Hilda Peacock speaking about her take when she read your book and about your view when you wrote that book. And I think the concept is so amazing because we actually do learn so much from other people's experiences, and we relate it. There are certain things we relate to our lives and certain takeaways that inspire us. And I agree with the point that it is very cathartic. So storytelling is a powerful tool, and I'm so glad you wrote the book. So can't wait to read it.
Yes, and so now since we're talking about it, I must tell you this is the sequel. The first one was called Tales She Can Tell. And why she? Because it was only it was woman-centric, mostly about women's stories. And that somebody in that book discussion about that book had told me, why are you talking about women only? Don't men also have their stories? So you should include them. So this time, since I have men, so I've called it Tales We Can Tell. So, but it's the same concept which I have carried through. Okay, so Vinisha, what is your take? Do you read short stories, and what kind of stories?
Not actually. I don't read much of short stories, but one book I have read, and I always feel that I can learn more from people's experience than me undergoing it and learning from it. But stories are really powerful because you never forget them and they impact us emotionally. So I think it's very powerful. I have read only one such real life story. Most of my reading is not related to it, but then even one which I read, I can recall it very promptly because it's emotionally, you have an emotional bond with that story. So I'm looking forward to read your book as well.
Okay, and I just wanted to say, since we're talking about people's sharing their stories, there were two stories in the book which actually were not people I knew and I had spoken to. These were newspaper reports I had read about two women who really inspired me. Their lives inspired me, so I looked into their lives and I wrote about them. And one was this the swimmer, the Olympic swimmer who had crossed when she's a refugee who had crossed the ocean, and because I can't swim for nuts, I did, it was so much, to me it seemed, oh my, what did she achieve? She, she saved not just her life, the other people who were drowning, she had saved them, and she went on to complete her dream of getting into the Olympics. So in spite of this traumatic experiences that she had. So these are, I think, like most of you have commented, other people can inspire us, and we see and we learn from others' experiences. So that is one thing. And I think about short stories, see, a novel can be very long. For myself, I can tell you there are two books. One is called The Reading List, and another one, I forget, they were gifted to me. Now, I have read about halfway through and I have left them. So, because, time constraints, people are busy nowadays. And if you're not really that, it's not that engrossing, I've just left it halfway through. So I think short stories for this kind of lifestyle that we lead now, they are much better because I can get time to finish one story and maybe I take up the book again and take up the next story. So this way, I think short stories is better for us. So can you see me?
Yeah,
Yeah, we can
I
see
can.
you.
Oh, but I can't see anybody.
Yeah, we can see you.
Is gone. Anyway, so it has already told me the time is going to wind up. So anyone else has, since we are the only people here, anyone else has any comments to make?
Roshmi, Nariman here.
Yes, Nariman. We have about 5 more minutes.
So first of all, I'll take about 7 minutes more. I'm kidding. No, I'll make it very short. First of all, compliments and all kudos to you for doing what you have done. I think it's very commendable. My sincere respect for the two gentlemen here on the call who kind of actually lent their stories to you to tell the world and give their names. It is not very easy. Both have gone through very painful experiences, and
Absolutely. Absolutely.
respect to them for doing this, and appreciate and acknowledge. And also for the other people who may not be on this call, the other protagonists of the story, or the people on which the stories are based. We're looking forward to read your book, Roshmi. And I think once we have read the book, all of us, I think we should have meet again on a Zoom call to discuss the book. I think it will be the natural progression of today's call, the natural progression. My second point I want to make is, yes, you're very right. Storytelling and story listening are both very impactful and powerful activities any human can go through. And this is not something new. This is from the old ages where storytelling down the generation, father to son, son to father, father to son happened. Right. So storytelling is undoubtedly a very powerful tool. Now, and also what you said, short stories, it is even more powerful. Around us in today's world, time and age, everything is becoming short. This news app in shorts, where all the news comes to you in 5 lines, 4 lines. Instagram reels, you can't do more than a minute. Twitter, you don't do more than 140 characters. Look around us. Every platform is encouraging, and every platform is promoting short forms, cogent, sharp, and impactful. It's not just short story writing. It's Twitter, it's Instagram, it's TikTok, it's news apps which give news in short bullets. So then why not short storytelling? So it's very much in natural alliance, or in the same kind of genre of things. Thank you, Roshmi. It was a very nice call we had. Appreciate. And look forward to the second